Great Backyard Bird Count Study. Otto Leopold is the father of modern conservation, and he had many of the ideals that we look upon for conservation these days. He wrote about this in the Sand County Almanac, and he mentioned that the species give important information on how healthy the environment is. And so it's been shown that birds are on the decline, and so we know that they are important. And we can study these numbers through citizen science, which is science that is reliant on volunteers and community members to get data that scientists couldn't get on their own. This is easily done through worldwide events such as Great Backyard Bird Count, which is what we did a couple weeks ago. And lots of research can be done through this program. My goal was to evaluate the effective time of day on the number of birds present and the number of species. My question was pretty much the same. I had two different locations where I went 4 times a day, and I counted the numbers and species of birds at each, looked for a difference in the times. My rationale was if I see X amount of species at a certain points in the day, it can be compared to past data to see a change. This is my first location was my home, and there are lots of different feeders that the birds are able to eat from. Looked at 4 different times and counted the numbers. Other location was on campus near the CMC, less feeders, and I was only able to do 2 sessions because I had to go into quarantine for COVID-19 protocol. Um, Other sources have calculated other data from similar tests, but I did not get into those. My findings were that there were more birds at home than at the CMC. At home, there were more in the morning and midday than at night, but at school, there were more in the evening than in the morning. The same thing for species. There were more in the morning than at night at home, but there were more at night than in the morning at school. So, got mixed results, and there wasn't really enough data to get any solid results just from the 6 that I was able to do. So at home, I saw there were a lot of goldfinches and juncos, so I did some more research on them. And they normally live in large groups and they congregate at feeders. Goldfinches are more drab yellow in the winter, but they're bright yellow in summer. And juncos actually live all across the country, and there are many different colors. I got all this information from eBird. So the citizen science that we did through eBird and the Great Backyard Bird Count is very important to get data on the birds and how they're doing. It's also good because it gets community members involved and gets regular people excited about science, not just dudes in lab coats. And I think Otto Leopold would be very proud of the backyard bird count because it helps with conservation and it gets more people aware of problems that we have. My overall goal was to determine the number of species and number of birds at different times during the day. I was able to do this somewhat. Birds overall are an important part of every ecosystem and they need to be saved and brought back. What I would change for the experiment and collection, I would have done more times than just the 4 or 2 at school, even. And I would have gone at the same exact time every day, not just a range. And for further research, I actually built a chimney swift tower at a local park a few years ago, and this could be an important data tool to study birds and get good data in the future.